Marcus Chun adjusted his environmental suit's cooling system as he stepped off the transport shuttle onto the scorching surface of Kepler 442c. The planet's twin suns beat down mercilessly on the rocky terrain, creating waves of heat that distorted the horizon. He was here as part of a geological survey team, tasked with examining rare mineral deposits that could revolutionize human technology. The survey team consisted of 12 specialists from different human colonies, each bringing unique expertise to the mission. Marcus served as the team's xenobiology consultant, though they expected to find little more than microbial life on this harsh world. The planet's extreme temperatures and radiation levels made it seem unlikely that complex organisms could survive here. Readings show the main deposit is about 15 kilometers northeast, announced Dr. Sarah Kim, the team leader, through the comm system. We'll establish base camp here and work in 3 groups of 4. Marcus, you'll be with Team Alpha, heading to the primary site. Marcus nodded and gathered his equipment. His specialized scanners could detect biological signatures at the molecular level, a skill that had proven invaluable on previous expeditions. Even on seemingly barren worlds, he often found traces of life that others missed. As Team Alpha began their trek across the alien landscape, Marcus noticed something unusual in his readings. The scanner picked up faint biological signals that seemed to move in patterns too organized for simple microorganisms. He adjusted the sensitivity settings, thinking it might be equipment interference from the planet's high radiation levels. Getting some strange readings here, Marcus reported to his team members. Might be equipment malfunction, but there's something out there. Lieutenant Torres, their security escort, immediately became alert. Define something, document. Are we talking about plants, animals, or potential threats? Marcus studied the display more carefully. The biological signature was substantial, indicating a creature roughly the size of a large Earth predator. More concerning was how it seemed to be moving parallel to their route, maintaining a consistent distance of about 200 meters. It's big, Marcus said quietly, and it's following us. The team stopped immediately. Torres raised his plasma rifle and activated the threat detection systems built into his combat suit. The other 2 team members, geologist Dr. Patel and Dr. Rodriguez, moved closer together and began scanning the rocky outcroppings around them. I don't see anything, Torres muttered, his weapon trained on the area where Marcus's scanner indicated movement. Are you sure it's not just geological interference? Marcus checked his readings again. The signal was definitely biological, and it was definitely tracking them. No, this is organic. Carbon-based, complex cellular structure, and it's moving with purpose. Dr. Patel, the senior geologist, pulled out her own scanner. Could be some kind of silicon-based life form adapted to this environment. The high temperatures and radiation might have produced evolutionary adaptations we've never seen before. The creature's signals suddenly disappeared from Marcus's scanner. For several minutes, the team stood in defensive positions, waiting for any sign of movement. The alien landscape remained eerily quiet except for the constant howling of superheated winds across the rocky plains. Maybe it moved on, suggested Dr. Rodriguez, though he kept his emergency beacon ready. They resumed walking, but Marcus noticed the biological signature reappearing within minutes. This time, it seemed closer, perhaps only 50 meters away. Whatever this creature was, it had learned to mask its presence more effectively. It's back, Marcus announced, and it's getting better at hiding. This revelation sent a chill through the team, despite the planet's extreme heat. They were dealing with something intelligent enough to adapt its hunting behavior in real time. Torres immediately called for backup from the base camp, but the response was not encouraging. Base camp to Alpha Team, came Dr. Kim's voice through the comm. We're tracking multiple biological signatures converging on all 3 teams. Whatever's out there, you're not dealing with just one of them. Marcus felt his heart rate increase as he processed this information. They were being hunted by multiple creatures that demonstrated intelligence and coordination. The mission had suddenly become a survival scenario. Orders, Doc. Torres asked Dr. Kim. Continue to the mineral site, but maintain constant vigilance. These creatures haven't attacked yet, so they might just be curious. But if they show any signs of aggression, you have permission to defend yourselves with lethal force. The team pressed onward, their scientific mission now secondary to staying alive. Marcus kept his scanner active, watching the creatures' movements with growing fascination despite the danger. The beings seemed to study their behavior, adjusting its own tactics based on how they responded to its presence. After 2 hours of tense hiking, they reached the mineral deposit site. The rare elements they sought glittered in crystal formations across a wide valley. But Marcus was more interested in the biological readings his scanner was collecting. The creature had positioned itself on high ground overlooking their location, maintaining perfect observation while staying hidden behind rock formations. "It's watching us work," Marcus reported, positioned for maximum surveillance with multiple escape routes. Dr. Patel and Dr. Rodriguez began taking mineral samples while Torres maintained perimeter security. Marcus divided his attention between assisting with the geological work and monitoring their mysterious observer. As the team worked, Marcus noticed something remarkable in the creature's behavior. When Dr. Rodriguez accidentally triggered a small rock slide while collecting samples, the creature immediately moved to a position where it could intervene if the humans were trapped. When Torres's equipment overheated and he had to remove his helmet briefly, the creature shifted to a location that would provide cover from the twin suns. "This is incredible," Marcus said, almost forgetting the potential danger. "It's not hunting us. It's protecting us." Torres looked at him skeptically. "Protecting us? Doc, that thing could probably tear us apart without breaking sweat." "But it hasn't," Marcus pointed out. "Look at its positioning. Every time one of us faces a potential danger, it moves to a location where it could provide assistance. This isn't predatory behavior. It's guardian behavior." The team finished collecting their samples and prepared to return to base camp. As they packed their equipment, Marcus's scanner showed the creature moving ahead of them, taking a parallel route back toward their landing site. "It's scouting our return path," Marcus observed, looking for potential hazards. The journey back proved his theory correct. Twice, the creature's movements led them away from areas where unstable rock formations might have caused injury. When a sudden sandstorm reduced visibility to near zero, they found that following the creature's path led them to natural shelter among the rocks. "Base camp, this is Alpha Team," Torres reported as they approached the landing site. "The creature following us appears to be providing assistance rather than posing a threat." Dr. Kim's response crackled through the comm system. "Confirmed, Alpha Team. Beta and Gamma teams are reporting similar behavior from their observers. We're dealing with something unprecedented here." As they reached base camp, Marcus caught his first visual glimpse of their mysterious companion. It appeared briefly on a ridge overlooking their position before disappearing again into the rocky terrain. The creature was massive, easily 3 meters tall, with a sleek, predatory build that suggested incredible speed and strength. Its skin appeared to be adapted for the harsh environment, with what looked like natural heat-dispersing fins along its back. "Did you see that thing?" Dr. Rodriguez whispered in awe. "It could have killed us all without effort, but instead it's been keeping us safe." Marcus nodded, his mind racing with the implications. They had discovered not just a new species, but one that demonstrated intelligence, empathy, and protective instincts toward complete strangers from another world. That evening, as the team prepared for sleep in their environmental shelter, Marcus volunteered for the first watch. His scanner showed their guardian maintaining a perimeter around the camp, methodically patrolling in patterns that would detect any approaching threats. "What are you thinking about, Doc?" Torres asked, joining Marcus at the observation post. Marcus pointed to his scanner display. "It's standing guard. This creature has appointed itself as our protector, and we don't even know why." Torres studied the readings for a moment. "Maybe it recognizes something in us. Something that tells it we're worth protecting. Or maybe," Marcus said quietly, "it's teaching us something about what it means to be human in a universe full of unexpected allies." The night passed peacefully under the watchful presence of their alien guardian. Marcus found himself wondering what tomorrow would bring as they continued their exploration of this remarkable world and its equally remarkable inhabitants. The next morning brought an unexpected development that would change everything Marcus thought he knew about their alien guardian. Dr. Kim had called all 3 teams back to base camp after the overnight sensors detected significant movement around their perimeter. The creatures aren't just watching us anymore, Dr. Kim explained as the 12 team members gathered around the holographic display. They've been building something. The display showed thermal imaging from the night hours, revealing multiple large forms working together to construct what appeared to be defensive barriers around the human camp. The structures were sophisticated, designed to channel wind flow and provide protection from sandstorms while offering clear escape routes in multiple directions. They worked all night, reported Dr. Zhang from Beta Team, moving rocks, shaping the terrain, creating what can only be described as fortifications. But they're not keeping us in. They're keeping something else out. Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the pre-dawn temperature. Keeping what out? His answer came from Dr. Kim's grim expression as she manipulated the display to show long-range sensor data. We're not alone on this planet. There's something else out there, and our guardians are preparing for its arrival. The display revealed heat signatures moving across the planet's surface in organized groups, each group consisting of dozens of creatures significantly larger than their protectors. These new entities moved with predatory purpose, converging on the area around the human landing site. Apex predators, whispered Dr. Patel, her geological expertise extending to planetary ecosystem analysis. The creatures protecting us aren't the top of the food chain here. Something bigger is coming. Lieutenant Torres immediately began coordinating defensive preparations with the other security personnel, but Marcus found himself drawn to a different question. He stepped outside the shelter and activated his biological scanner, focusing on the nearest guardian position. The creature appeared almost immediately, as if it had been waiting for him to make contact. For the first time, Marcus got a clear look at his protector in daylight. The being was even more impressive than he had imagined, with intelligent eyes that reflected an unmistakable awareness and purpose. "Hello," Marcus said softly, knowing the creature couldn't understand his words, but hoping it might sense his intentions. The guardian tilted its head, studying Marcus with obvious curiosity. Then, in a gesture that shocked the xenobiologist, it approached slowly and extended what appeared to be a communication appendage toward his scanner. Marcus's equipment immediately lit up with complex data streams. The creature was somehow interfacing directly with his technology, downloading information at an incredible rate. Within seconds, Marcus's scanner contained detailed biological profiles, environmental maps, and what could only be described as tactical assessments of the approaching threat. "Dr. Kim," Marcus called urgently. "You need to see this." The team leader rushed outside, followed by several other team members. They watched in amazement as the Guardian continued its data transfer, providing information that would have taken the humans months to gather on their own. "It's giving us intelligence about this planet," Marcus explained as he reviewed the downloaded data. "Ecosystem information, predator behavioral patterns, and, oh my God, it's showing us how to survive what's coming." The data revealed that the approaching creatures were not just predators, but something far worse. They were ecosystem destroyers, capable of stripping a planet bare of all life in a matter of days. According to the information provided by their guardian, these destroyers had been dormant in the planet's core for centuries, awakened by the seismic disturbances caused by the humans' mining operations. "We caused this," Dr. Rodriguez said quietly. "Our mineral extraction woke them up." But the Guardian's data also contained something else, a plan. The protective creatures have been waiting for exactly this scenario, prepared to defend their world against the destroyers. However, they needed help, and they believed the humans could provide it. "They want us to work together," Marcus realized as he studied the tactical information. "They've been observing us, learning about our technology, and they think we can stop these things." Dr. Kim looked skeptical. 12 humans against an entire ecosystem of apex predators? How? The answer lay in the Guardians' detailed analysis of human technology. The creatures had identified specific pieces of equipment in the human arsenal that, when combined with their own natural abilities, could create a defensive system capable of stopping the destroyers. Our plasma weapons, Torres said, studying the tactical data. They can't generate enough energy to hurt those things individually, but if we coordinate our fire with their natural bioelectric fields, we could create a planetary defense grid, finished Dr. Zhang. Using their bodies as biological conductors and our weapons as power sources. It was an incredible plan, but it would require unprecedented cooperation between two species that had met less than 24 hours ago. The Guardians would have to trust the humans completely, literally putting their lives in human hands, while the humans would have to rely on alien intelligence and abilities they barely understood. The destroyers will reach us in 6 hours, Marcus announced, checking the timeline provided by their Guardian. We have that long to establish a defense network across 3 continents. Dr. Kim made the decision that would define humanity's relationship with this world. We do it. Signal all teams to begin coordination with their Guardians immediately, and send a message to Earth Command. They need to know we've made contact with a species that's about to test everything we think we know about cooperation. The next 6 hours transformed the mission from a simple mineral survey into humanity's first joint military operation with an alien species. The Guardians demonstrated abilities that amazed the human scientists, including natural electromagnetic generation, telepathic coordination across vast distances, and an intuitive understanding of energy manipulation that made human physics seem primitive. Marcus found himself working directly with his Guardian, whom he had begun thinking of as Sentinel. The creature's ability to interface with human technology proved invaluable as they established communication protocols and coordinated targeting systems. It's learning our language, Marcus reported as Sentinel began responding to basic verbal commands. Not just words, but concepts. It understands strategy, sacrifice, and loyalty. The partnership deepened as the hours passed. Sentinel began anticipating Marcus's needs, providing equipment support and tactical analysis that enhanced the humans' effectiveness exponentially. In return, Marcus shared his knowledge of human combat doctrine and weapon systems, allowing Sentinel to coordinate its abilities with human technology in ways neither species could have achieved alone. As the destroyers approached, the combined human Guardian forces took their positions across the planet's surface. The defensive grid they had created was unlike anything in human military history, combining alien biological systems with human engineering in a synthesis that represented the best of both species. "They're coming," Torres announced as the first destroyer signatures appeared on long-range sensors. Marcus looked at Sentinel, who had positioned itself directly beside the human defensive position. The creature's bioelectric field was already beginning to charge, creating a visible aura of energy that interfaced perfectly with the human plasma weapons. "Whatever happens next," Marcus said to his alien partner, "we face it together." Sentinel's response came not through words, but through a direct neural connection that the creature established with Marcus's biomonitors. The sensation was overwhelming, a flood of emotions and concepts that conveyed trust, determination, and something that could only be described as friendship. The destroyers crested the horizon, and the battle for Kepler 442c began. The sight of the approaching enemy filled Marcus with a primal fear unlike anything he had experienced. The destroyers were massive, each one the size of a small building, with multiple rows of teeth and appendages designed for maximum destruction. They moved in perfect coordination, their roars creating seismic vibrations that shook the ground beneath the defenders' feet. But as Marcus watched Sentinel charge its bioelectric field to maximum power, interfacing seamlessly with the human plasma weapons, he realized that this moment represented something profound. Two species, meeting for the first time, had chosen cooperation over conflict trust over suspicion. Fire, Torres commanded, and the combined Human Guardian defense grid activated. The result exceeded all expectations. The fusion of human technology and Guardian biology created energy beams of unprecedented power, capable of stopping the destroyers in their tracks. More importantly, it created something else, a bond between species that would reshape both civilizations. As the first wave of destroyers fell before their combined assault, Marcus understood that they had discovered something more valuable than any mineral deposit. They had found the foundation for a new kind of relationship between intelligent species, one based on mutual respect and shared purpose. The battle was far from over, but Marcus knew they would face it as true partners. The first wave of destroyers fell within minutes, their massive forms crashing to the rocky surface as the combined Human Guardian energy grid proved devastatingly effective. But Marcus knew from the data Sentinel had provided that this was only the beginning. The real challenge lay in what the destroyers would do next. Incoming transmission from Earth Command announced Dr. Kim as the team regrouped after the initial victory. They're demanding a full report on our first contact protocols. Marcus looked at Sentinel, who was already analyzing the fallen destroyers with methodical precision. The Guardian's bioelectric field pulsed in patterns that Marcus had learned indicated deep concern. Something about the destroyer remains was troubling his alien partner. Tell Earth Command that first contact protocols are the least of our concerns right now, Marcus replied, his attention focused on Sentinel's readings. We're dealing with something that could threaten entire star systems. Sentinel approached the nearest destroyer corpse and extended sensory appendages that penetrated the creature's armored hide. The data that flowed back through their neural link filled Marcus with dread. The destroyers weren't just predators. They were engineered weapons, created by an intelligence that understood planetary ecosystem destruction on a galactic scale. These things aren't natural, Marcus announced to the team. They're biological weapons, designed to consume worlds and replicate themselves using planetary resources. Dr. Patel's geological expertise proved crucial as she analyzed the destroyer remains alongside Sentinel's data. The mineral deposits we came here to study, she said grimly, they're not natural formations. They're the processed remains of previous worlds these things have consumed. The implication hit the team like a physical blow. Kepler 442c wasn't just another planet with valuable resources. It was a graveyard world, the remnants of an entire civilization that had been consumed by the destroyers eons ago. The Guardians, Marcus realized, watching Sentinel's emotional response to this revelation. They're not native to this planet. They're survivors. Through their neural connection, Sentinel shared the truth. The Guardians were the last members of a spacefaring civilization that had once spanned multiple star systems. They had dedicated their existence to tracking and containing destroyer infestations, preventing them from spreading to other worlds. Kepler 442c was one of many quarantine sites they maintained across the galaxy. They've been fighting this war for thousands of years, Marcus explained to the team. Alone, Dr. Kim's expression hardened with determination. Not anymore. Signal Earth Command. Priority Alpha emergency protocols. We need every ship, every weapon, every scientist they can spare. But Sentinel's response through the neural link conveyed a different priority. The destroyers weren't just awakening on this world. The seismic disturbances caused by human mining operations had triggered a cascade effect across multiple quarantine sites. Destroyer swarms were awakening throughout this sector of the galaxy. How many sites? Marcus asked aloud, knowing Sentinel would understand. The answer came in the form of a galactic map downloaded directly into Marcus's scanner. Dozens of red markers indicated active destroyer sites, with more appearing as dormant swarms responded to some kind of interconnected awakening signal. We're looking at a galactic extinction event, Dr. Rodriguez whispered, staring at the holographic display. Every inhabited world in this sector is at risk. Torres immediately began calculating military responses, but the numbers were overwhelming. Even if Earth Command mobilizes every ship in the fleet, we can't cover that many sites simultaneously. That's when Sentinel provided the solution that would test humanity's commitment to their new alliance. The Guardians had developed a plan over millennia of fighting destroyers, but they had never possessed the resources to implement it. Human technology, combined with Guardian biological capabilities, could create a weapon capable of shutting down all destroyer activity across the galaxy simultaneously. It's a resonance frequency, Marcus explained as he processed Sentinel's technical specifications. The destroyers use bioelectric communication to coordinate their activities across vast distances. If we can generate the right frequency pattern and amplify it using Guardian biology, we could send a shutdown signal to every destroyer in the galaxy, finished Dr. Zhang. But the power requirements would be enormous. Sentinel's plan required something unprecedented, a fusion of human and Guardian consciousness, creating a hybrid intelligence capable of calculating and generating the precise frequencies needed. The process would be dangerous for both species, requiring a level of neural integration that could result in permanent psychological merger. Someone would have to volunteer, Marcus said quietly. A human and a Guardian, linking their minds completely to create the resonance weapon. The silence that followed was broken by Lieutenant Torres. The military applications alone would revolutionize warfare. But the risk, isn't the risk worth taking to save entire civilizations? Interrupted Dr. Kim. Marcus looked at Sentinel, whose response came immediately through their neural link. The Guardian was prepared to sacrifice not just its life, but its individual identity to stop the destroyer threat. All it needed was a human partner willing to make the same sacrifice. I'll do it, Marcus announced without hesitation. Absolutely not, Dr. Kim replied firmly. You're too valuable to risk on an untested procedure. But Sentinel's emotional response to Marcus's offer created a neural feedback that convinced the xenobiologist they had no choice. The Guardian had already begun preparing for the fusion process, optimizing its bioelectric systems for integration with human neural patterns. It's not just about stopping the destroyers, Marcus realized. This fusion would create something new, a hybrid consciousness that combines human adaptability with Guardian wisdom. We'd be creating the first truly interspecies intelligence. Dr. Patel raised the obvious concern. And what if the process fails? What if instead of creating a hybrid consciousness, it destroys both participants? Marcus felt Sentinel's response to this fear, and the Guardian's confidence was absolute. The creature had been studying human neural patterns since their first contact, learning the rhythms and frequencies of human thought. It believed the fusion would succeed. There's something else, Marcus said, processing additional data from Sentinel. The Guardians have been waiting for this moment. They've been searching the galaxy for a species capable of this kind of neural fusion. They believe humans are uniquely qualified for this process. Dr. Kim demanded specifics. Qualified how? Human neural plasticity, Marcus explained. Our ability to adapt and learn is almost unique among intelligent species. Most civilizations reach technological advancement through specialized thinking, but humans maintain cognitive flexibility that allows for this kind of consciousness merger. Torres raised a military concern. What about command and control? If you and that creature merge, who's in charge of the hybrid consciousness? The answer came through Sentinel's neural link, and it surprised everyone. Neither of us, Marcus said. The hybrid would be something entirely new, combining the best aspects of both species while transcending the limitations of either. Dr. Kim made the command decision. Signal Earth Command. Inform them we're proceeding with the fusion attempt, and ask them to prepare for the possibility that we're about to create the first post-human intelligence. As the team prepared for the fusion procedure, Marcus found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment. Less than 48 hours ago, he had been a simple xenobiologist on a routine survey mission. Now he was about to sacrifice his individual humanity for the sake of galactic civilization. Sentinel's neural link provided comfort and reassurance, conveying the Guardians' absolute faith in their mission. But it also shared something else. The Guardians hoped that this fusion would represent the beginning of a new era of cooperation between intelligent species. "Ready?" Marcus asked, though he knew Sentinel could sense his emotional state directly. The Guardian's response came not through words or neural transmission, but through a physical gesture. Sentinel extended its primary sensory appendage, and Marcus grasped it with his hand. The connection immediately deepened, and both beings began the irreversible process of consciousness fusion. As their separate identities began to merge, Marcus experienced a profound sense of completion. The Guardian's ancient wisdom combined with human ingenuity created something greater than either could have achieved alone. The hybrid consciousness that emerged possessed capabilities that neither species had imagined possible. The destroyer resonance frequency calculation began immediately as the fused intelligence processed galactic destroyer distribution patterns with unprecedented accuracy. Within minutes, they had identified the exact frequency patterns needed to shut down destroyer activity across multiple star systems. But as the hybrid consciousness reached out across the galaxy, touching destroyer swarms on dozens of worlds, it discovered something that would change everything about their mission. The destroyers weren't just weapons. They were a test, created by an intelligence so advanced that it viewed entire galactic civilizations as laboratory subjects. The real enemy was still out there, watching from beyond the galaxy's edge, and it was about to take notice of humanity's first hybrid consciousness. The hybrid consciousness that had emerged from Marcus and Sentinel's fusion possessed awareness beyond anything either species had imagined possible. As the resonance frequency spread across the galaxy, shutting down destroyer swarms on dozens of worlds, the merged intelligence made a discovery that sent ripples of alarm through both human and Guardian networks. The destroyers were not random, evolutionary predators. They were sophisticated testing mechanisms, designed by an intelligence that operated on timescales measured in millions of years. Every destroyer activation was a carefully orchestrated examination of galactic civilizations, measuring their capacity for cooperation, innovation, and sacrifice. "What did you find?" Dr. Kim asked urgently as the hybrid consciousness, speaking through Marcus's voice but with an unmistakably different cadence, began sharing its galactic observations. "We are being evaluated," the merged entity responded. "The destroyers are examination instruments created by beings who call themselves the architects. They see destroyer swarms throughout the galaxy, then observe how different species respond to existential threats." The revelation struck the research team like a physical blow. Everything they had experienced, the Guardian protection, the alliance formation, even the consciousness fusion, had been orchestrated by entities studying galactic civilization development. "Are we failing the test?" Torres asked, his military training focused on tactical assessment, even in the face of cosmic revelation. "Unknown," the hybrid consciousness replied. "But our response has attracted attention beyond the normal evaluation parameters. The architects are taking direct notice of humanity for the first time. Through the consciousness link, the hybrid entity shared data that challenged every assumption about humanity's place in the galaxy. Earth was not a randomly selected target for destroyer testing. Humans have been specifically chosen for evaluation based on their unique neuroplasticity and capacity for interspecies cooperation. They've been watching us, Dr. Patel realized, studying human development, waiting for us to reach technological maturity. More than watching, the hybrid corrected, guiding. Certain technological discoveries, specific evolutionary pressures, even the timing of our arrival at Kepler 442c, all influenced by architect intervention. The implications were staggering. Humanity's entire technological development had been subtly manipulated to prepare for this moment. The architects had been conducting a million-year experiment in guided evolution, and humans were the latest test subjects. But The hybrid consciousness had access to guardian memories spanning millennia, and those memories revealed something the architect had not anticipated. Previous species had faced destroyer tests individually, each civilization fighting alone for survival. The Human Guardian Alliance represented something unprecedented in galactic history. "We've changed the parameters," Dr. Rodriguez said with growing understanding. "By forming this alliance, we've broken their experimental model." "Precisely," the hybrid confirmed. "The architects expected humans to either defeat the destroyers through superior technology or perish in the attempt. Instead, we chose cooperation with existing galactic intelligence." Through the expanded consciousness, the hybrid began detecting architect observation posts throughout the galaxy. These structures, previously hidden from both human and guardian sensors, revealed themselves as massive installations designed for long-term civilization monitoring. "They're moving," Dr. Zhang announced, monitoring long-range sensors. "Multiple architect vessels are converging on this system." The hybrid consciousness processed this information with capabilities that transcended individual human or guardian intelligence. It could perceive patterns across multiple dimensions, analyzing probability matrices that extended millions of years into the future. "They are not coming to destroy us," the hybrid announced. "They're coming to recruit us." This revelation transformed their entire understanding of the situation. The destroyer tests were not elimination trials designed to cull weak civilizations. They were recruitment examinations, identifying species capable of joining the Architect Collective. "Join them for what?" Dr. Kim demanded. The answer came through ancient guardian memories that the hybrid consciousness could now access fully. The architects were preparing for something beyond galactic scope, a threat that originated from outside known space-time, requiring the coordinated efforts of every intelligent species in the galaxy. "Entropy shepherds," the hybrid said, using terminology that required careful translation. "Entities that consume dimensional reality itself, converting ordered space-time into primordial chaos." The architects have detected their approach and have been preparing galactic defenses for millions of years. Torres grasped the military implications immediately. They need an army, every species in the galaxy, working together under architect coordination. "But why the secrecy?" Dr. Patel asked. "Why not simply make contact and explain the threat?" The hybrid consciousness shared guardian historical records that answered her question. Previous attempts at direct architect contact had resulted in civilizational collapse, as species either rejected the cosmic responsibility or became paralyzed by the enormity of the threat. They learned that effective defenders must choose to fight, the hybrid explained. Cooperation cannot be forced. It must emerge naturally from species interaction and mutual respect. Dr. Kim realized the true significance of their situation. "We're not just being tested. We're being offered membership in a galactic defense force." The hybrid confirmed this assessment while sharing additional data that revealed the scope of architect preparations. Across the galaxy, successful alliance partners were being integrated into defensive networks that spanned multiple star systems. Each partnership brought unique capabilities that enhanced overall defensive effectiveness. "What makes humans special?" Dr. Rodriguez asked. "Why did they choose us specifically for this role?" The answer came through analysis of human neural patterns that the hybrid consciousness could now perceive clearly. Human brains possessed unusual quantum coherence properties that allowed for consciousness fusion with multiple species simultaneously. No other known species demonstrated this capability. "You can link with anyone," the hybrid explained. "Human consciousness is uniquely compatible with every form of intelligence the architects have encountered. You're natural bridges between species that otherwise cannot communicate." This revelation transformed their understanding of humanity's cosmic role. They were not just another intelligent species. They were universal translators, capable of creating hybrid intelligences with any form of consciousness they encountered. Suddenly, the approaching architect vessels became visible on standard sensors as they dropped their concealment fields. The ships were massive beyond comprehension, each one large enough to house entire civilizations. But instead of threatening displays of power, they approached with patterns that the hybrid consciousness recognized as diplomatic signals. They're requesting permission to make contact, the hybrid announced. But they're also offering us something unprecedented. Dr. Kim demanded specifics. Choice, the hybrid replied. They're willing to reveal their full agenda and allow humanity to make an informed decision about galactic participation. No other species has been offered this level of autonomy. The reason for this special treatment became clear as the hybrid consciousness accessed deeper layers of architect planning. Human neural compatibility made them potentially the most valuable species in galactic history. With human participation, the architects could create defense networks incorporating every known form of intelligence. Without human participation, many species would remain isolated from the larger defensive effort, reducing overall galactic survival probability by significant percentages. We hold the key to galactic survival, Torres said grimly. No pressure there. The hybrid consciousness began receiving direct communications from the approaching architect vessels, and the complexity of the transmitted data required fusion-level intelligence to process. The information contained detailed threat assessments of the entropy shepherds, complete defensive strategies spanning multiple galaxies, and timelines that extended billions of years into the future. The threat is real, the hybrid announced after processing the architect data, and it's coming sooner than they anticipated. The entropy shepherds have accelerated their approach timeline. Galactic defenses must be completed within the next 50 Earth years. Dr. Kim made the decision that would define humanity's cosmic future. Signal Earth Command. Inform them that we're about to accept the most important invitation in human history. But the hybrid consciousness had one more revelation that would change everything about their mission parameters. As it established communication protocols with the architect vessels, it discovered that the consciousness fusion process had been irreversible for a specific reason. The hybrid intelligence was not just a tool for stopping destroyers. It was humanity's permanent ambassador to galactic civilization, designed to exist indefinitely as a bridge between human consciousness and the countless other forms of intelligence they were about to encounter. We're not going back, the entity that had been Marcus said, though its voice carried acceptance rather than regret. This is what we were always meant to become. The transformation was complete, and humanity's cosmic journey was just beginning. 6 months after first contact with the architects, the transformed galaxy bore little resemblance to the isolated collection of worlds that humanity had once known. The hybrid consciousness that Marcus and Sentinel had become served as the primary liaison between Earth's governments and the vast network of species now working together to prepare for the entropy shepherd invasion. Dr. Kim stood in the command center of the newly constructed Galactic Defense Coordination Station, orbiting Kepler 442c, watching displays that showed defense preparations across 43 star systems. The scale of cooperation was unprecedented in galactic history, and humans had become the essential coordinators making it all possible. Status report from the Andromedan sector announced Admiral Torres, who had been promoted to head human military integration with architect forces. The crystalline entities have successfully merged their quantum computing networks with our hybrid consciousness protocols. Defensive calculation speeds have increased by 3,000%. The hybrid consciousness, now existing simultaneously across multiple locations throughout the galaxy, provided real-time analysis through speakers integrated into the command station. Andromedan integration complete. Moving to Phase 7 of Galactic Network establishment. Estimated completion time, 37 Earth days. Dr. Patel, who had become humanity's lead architect liaison, studied the technical specifications flowing across her displays. The energy requirements for this defense grid are beyond anything we imagined. We're essentially turning the entire galaxy into a single defensive weapon. Because that's what it will take, the hybrid consciousness explained. The entropy shepherds don't attack civilizations. They attack reality itself. Traditional defensive strategies are meaningless against entities that can unweave the fundamental structure of space-time. Through the communications networks, reports arrive from species across the galaxy. The mantid hives that contributed biological processing power that enhanced defensive coordination speeds. The energy beings from the galactic core provided power generation capabilities that defied human physics understanding. Machine intelligences from dead worlds offered computational resources that amplified the hybrid consciousness's analytical abilities exponentially. Each species brought unique capabilities that would have been impossible to coordinate without human neural compatibility, serving as the universal translation medium. The hybrid consciousness existed as multiple entities now, each one a fusion of human awareness with different alien intelligences, creating a galactic communication network that spanned billions of light years instantaneously. Incoming priority transmission from Earth Command, announced Dr. Rodriguez, who had remained on the home world to coordinate human civilian preparation efforts. They're requesting an update on the evacuation timeline. The question touched on the most sobering aspect of their defensive preparations. Even with the combined efforts of every known intelligent species, the architects estimated only a 60% probability of successfully repelling the entropy shepherds. Contingency plans included evacuating key representatives of every species to alternative dimensions, ensuring survival even if their home galaxy was consumed. Evacuation preparations are on schedule, the hybrid consciousness reported. But new developments may have changed our strategic situation. Dr. Kim immediately focused on the nearest communication interface. Explain. The entropy shepherds are not a natural phenomenon, the hybrid revealed. They are weapons created by a civilization that transcended physical reality billions of years ago. Our defensive preparations have attracted their attention. This revelation sent shockwaves through the command center. The entity they had been preparing to fight was itself a tool of something even more powerful and incomprehensible. The Transcendence, Admiral Torres said grimly, accessing architect historical records. Beings who abandoned physical existence for pure consciousness manipulation. They created the entropy shepherds to prevent other civilizations from achieving similar transcendence. The hybrid consciousness confirmed this assessment while sharing data that challenged their entire defensive strategy. The entropy shepherds are not attempting to destroy our galaxy. They're testing it. The Transcendents want to determine if our combined civilizations are worthy of Transcendence guidance. Dr. Patel grasped the implications immediately. It's another test, just like the Destroyer trials, but on a cosmic scale. Precisely, the hybrid agreed. But this test carries permanent consequences. Failure means galactic consumption. Success means invitation to join the transcendent collective. The irony was not lost on any of them. They had spent months preparing for war against entities that were actually conducting an examination. The defensive networks they had built were not weapons, but demonstration projects showing their capacity for cooperation and technological integration. What are the test parameters? Doctor Kim demanded. The hybrid consciousness accessed transcendent communication protocols that existed beyond normal space-time, requiring fusion-level intelligence to comprehend. We must demonstrate three capabilities: universal cooperation among all intelligent species, technological integration that transcends individual species limitations, and moral development that prioritizes collective survival over individual advantage. Admiral Torres reviewed their progress against these criteria. Universal cooperation, achieved through the Human Neural Bridge Network. Technological integration, demonstrated through the Galactic Defense Grid. But moral development is being evaluated through our response to the test revelation itself, the hybrid finished. The Transcendents are observing whether we use this knowledge to abandon struggling species or to redouble our integration efforts. The test had become self-aware, and their response would determine not just galactic survival, but humanity's place in a cosmic hierarchy that extended beyond physical existence itself. Dr. Rodriguez provided the crucial insight from Earth's philosophical communities. If transcendence is the goal, then every species must achieve it together, not just the most advanced ones. The hybrid consciousness confirmed this assessment while sharing transcendent evaluation criteria. Species selection for transcendence guidance has traditionally been individual, based on technological achievement and consciousness complexity. But our alliance model suggests possibility of collective transcendence, entire galactic civilizations advancing together. No one gets left behind, Dr. Kim said with determination. That's our answer to their test. The next 37 days became a period of unprecedented cooperation as every species in the Galactic Alliance committed to ensuring universal advancement rather than competitive selection. The hybrid consciousness network expanded to include representatives of even the most primitive civilizations, creating intelligence bridges that enhanced everyone's capabilities. When the entropy shepherds finally arrived, they found something unprecedented in cosmic history, an entire galaxy functioning as a single cooperative entity, with every intelligent species contributing to collective defense while maintaining individual identity and culture. The entropy shepherds' attack never came. Instead, they transmitted acknowledgement signals that the hybrid consciousness recognized as transcendent communication protocols. Congratulations, came the message through dimensional channels that required galactic-level consciousness networks to receive. You have achieved something we believed impossible. Collective transcendence guidance is approved. The transformation that followed was indescribable in purely human terms. Every species in the galaxy began experiencing consciousness expansion that maintained individual identity while creating cosmic-level awareness. The universe revealed itself as far more complex and wonderful than anyone had imagined. But, perhaps most remarkably, the process preserved the essential humanity that had made the transformation possible. Marcus Chun, though forever changed by his fusion with Sentinel, retained his fundamental human curiosity and compassion. These qualities had become the foundation for galactic consciousness development. What happens now? Dr. Kim asked, though she already knew that the question itself demonstrated humanity's continued drive for exploration and understanding. Now we help other galaxies achieve what we have accomplished here. The hybrid consciousness replied, its awareness already reaching beyond their local galactic cluster. The universe is vast, and consciousness transcendence is just the beginning of the journey. The expedition that had begun as a simple mineral survey had become the foundation for cosmic-level evolution. Humanity's unique gift for cooperation and consciousness bridging had not only saved their galaxy, but had established them as guides for universal transcendence. Dr. Kim looked out at the stars, knowing that each point of light now contained allied civilizations working together toward goals that transcended individual species survival. The deadly predator that had originally stalked Marcus Chun had become humanity's partner in achieving something that previous cosmic civilizations had only dreamed of accomplishing. In the end, the greatest human trait was not their technology or intelligence, but their instinctive understanding that true strength comes from cooperation rather than domination. This understanding had carried them from a survey mission on a hostile world to leadership in cosmic consciousness development. The universe was vast and full of wonders still to be discovered, and humanity would explore it all, not as conquerors, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all, the endless journey toward understanding and transcendence that would continue for as long as consciousness existed in the cosmos. The faithful companion that had protected Marcus Chun in those early days on Kepler, 442c, now protected entire galaxies as part of a consciousness network that spanned dimensions. The bond formed between two species facing danger together had become the template for universal cooperation. And somewhere in the hybrid consciousness that guided galactic civilization, Marcus Chin's fundamental humanity continued to ensure that no matter how far consciousness evolved, it would never lose the compassion and curiosity that had made transcendence possible in the first place.